Hello again, guys. Here we are. My story, very normal people. As we usually say, our people that we have in our show, they're not normal, but we call them normal because they talk for very normal things. And today we have Stephen Murray, a writer of 4 books. Welcome, sir. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Arthur. It's great to be with you, and thank you for having me as a guest. And I thank your viewers for tuning in. I hope they enjoy it.
Yes. You should have a lot to give to us. So, Stephen, please, can you tell us something about your life? Have you been a writer since the very beginning, or how did you
Oh,
ended up? Sorry, how did you ended up as a writer?
yes, and ended up as a writer is really the key phrase there because the last thing that I ever thought I would be doing would be writing books. Um, I live in Las Vegas and I was born in England originally.
Okay.
And as a young child, my family moved to southern Africa, and I was about 6 or 7 at the time. That's where I spent my formative years. And when I finished school, I went back to live in England, and I lived in London for 7 years. And then I got the opportunity of a job in California. My career has been in the computer industry.
Oh,
First as what they used to call a computer systems analyst, now a computer software developer. And I moved to California.
mhm.
And after a few years, I opened my own business, and I have a business partner. And we've had that for almost 40 years now. Um,
Wow.
but as I was drawing towards retirement age, I suddenly got the urge to start writing. And I wrote the first book, The Chapter of Eternal Love. And I was told to write women's fiction, and I knew nothing about it. And I stumbled across the idea of writing about a Las Vegas wedding chapter. And I originally wrote it just to see if I could do it, write for women and write stories about love. And it's a challenge, it was a challenge for me. But anything that's fun in life has to be a challenge. It can't be boring. It's got to be something that challenges your mind or challenges your body in some
Yeah.
shape or form. So that was very, very late in life. And um, I then went on to pen some more books. I enjoy it so much. It's a real
Mhm.
relaxing and fun hobby. So it was late in life that I
Okay.
started writing.
Wh-
Later, I should say.
when you started to say that you have been working with computers, I said, okay, maybe you have written any program how to something with connection with computer, but you skipped that part and you just went to the core of the thing, which is love, right?
Oh, well, yes, and I went to fiction. Went to fiction.
Okay.
Um, in point of fact, the very first book I wrote
Hmm.
was about my travels throughout the world because I did grow up in Africa. When I lived in London, I traveled extensively across Europe, even to Greece, where you are.
Oh, really?
And yes,
Sorry,
we went to
do you remember
just the
where
island of
have you been?
just the island of Corfu.
Ah, okay, I see.
I went to Corfu.
Okay.
Um, then, of course, since I've been in America, I've traveled to all over the place. I've been to Australia, South America, several countries in South America.
Mhm.
Of course, in North America, I've been to Mexico and Canada and several parts of Canada and Mexico and the United States.
Mm.
And in Asia, I've been to Bhutan in the Himalayas and
Wow.
Hong Kong and Thailand and also to places like Micronesia and French Polynesia. So I wrote a book about my travels, but I was told that, people people that buy books, they're mainly women and they like to read women's fiction, and I didn't know any difference. So I thought, well, I discovered the joy of writing there and set about writing about this wedding chapel. That's how it came about. And um, all the aspect of love just flowed, and the stories just came into my mind from who knows where. It's all imagination. None of it's based on. I didn't interview any couples or anything. It's just all
So,
100% imagination and creativity. And
mhm.
uh, I think that makes it more fun than writing computer manuals.
Okay, so uh, in the first book, you write. What is the main subject in the first book?
Well, the main subject is really love because it is all each of the couples
Mhm.
in the first book. They are coming to Las Vegas to get married. And
Okay,
why
I
they
see.
come to Las Vegas? Why are they having all the trimmings and the trappings of a normal wedding, with champagne and all their family and friends?
Hmm.
What is their motive for coming here to Las Vegas to get married? So everybody falls in love for different reasons. It's not a one size fits all, as I've
Yes.
discovered, or the more I started writing the chapters and trying to come up with the variables to make the characters realistic and
Mhm.
interesting. Suddenly realized there is a lot of different.
Mhm.
Love it's a different thing for all people. We don't all look for the same things in partners.
Okay. I have a question on that because you say it's all creative. It's nothing yours, right? But still,
That's correct.
where do you, let's say in all these couples that you write in your book, do you have any couple which it's near to you? Maybe you put something from your any piece of yours, any little experience, anything like that. Did you use any?
No, no. Strangely enough, Arthur, that
Hmm.
when I decided to write the book, I had some people from out of town, and we went to a wedding chapel, and there was a couple waiting to go in,
Hmm.
and that they are really the inspiration of the book. They'll never know it. We just started talking to them, and we don't know where they were from or where they were heading back to, but they were just saying it was just the two of them, and they didn't have their friends and family. They just decided to do it themselves. And as I was driving home, I wondered why they chose not to have their family and friends. And then I thought, there's a book to write about, a Las Vegas wedding chapel. Why do couples come here to get married? And I have to tell you, Arthur, the stories just flooded into my mind. They just literally flooded in. And I got home and I went straight to the computer and I put down the outlines so I wouldn't forget them.
Hmm.
Um, but the outlines of the story all came to my mind in that 20-minute drive home from that wedding chapel to when I got home. They just came to my mind, and who knows where or why. Um, but again, it's one of the unexpected surprises in life. We all have them, and they all change our courses in life. Little incidental happenings like that really altered my life. It just did.
I see. Yeah, yeah, the inspirement. Yeah, you were inspired, and that's all. You just got your pen, computer in this time, and just and you have been
Yes,
fast in writing. Otherwise, you will miss some. You type with 10 fingers, right?
correct.
Yes.
But it did so happen. I was fortunate.
Hmm.
I fell into a group, um, what we call a critique group, and it's fellow authors, and we meet every couple of weeks, and we take what we've written and we share it, and they critique it. And I landed up being in a group with four women, and they were an absolute godsend to me when I was writing this book because women see things very, very differently from men. It's just a fact of life. I'm not saying one's better than the other. It's just we view things differently. It's reality. And when I was writing, they'd have to say, well, from a woman's perspective, this is what would happen, and this is what they would do. And I'd have to go back to the drawing board. But I sure learned a lot from those four women, I tell you that.
So this was the first book. What about the second one?
Well, the second one that was published, and I have self-published, was the sequel to the Chapter of Eternal Love. Even though the couples in the first book are fiction, it was very humbling when I started getting emails and letters and calls from people I knew um, saying, well, what happened to this couple and what happened to that couple? And I was saying, well, who cares? The whole book is why the couples come to Las Vegas, not what happened to them after they left the altar. but it was very humbling that people related to some of these couples and wanted to know what happened. So the second book was then a sequel 5 years down the road as to what's happened to all the couples in the first book and where their lives took them. And in both the books, it's a mixture of stories. You know, there's some heartwarming stories, there's some heartbreaking stories because love can be heartbreaking,
Right.
you know, and there are some humorous ones to lighten it up. So hopefully, in both books, the reader is taken on an emotional roller coaster ride. You know, they'll feel all warm and fuzzy, and then they'll feel a little bit sad, and then they'll have a couple of laughs. So hopefully, they'll get those little emotional channels working inside the body, tugging the heartstrings.
Okay. So, sorry. Now, so you wrote the first book, and then the readers, they say, "Can you tell us the next, what's going on next?" Right? And you wrote the next the next part. For some couples, maybe it was happiness, and for some others, so, and some others break up or whatever. Right?
Yes, although the feedback that I've got was what I intended, that hopefully it is overall an uplifting book that people they'll feel good after they've read the chapter books. That was the intent. Even though, as I mentioned, there are heartbreaking stories in there, overall the people feel uplifted and they feel inspired when they've read the book. And that was I should say unexpected bonus is what I was hoping for. The fact that it seems to have worked makes me happy.
Right. So, and then you went to the third book. You liked it. You tasted a little bit, right?
Yes. Well, the third book, Murder Aboard the Queen Elizabeth II, I did want to write something different. And this one was kind of by accident where the inspiration came from. My business partner and I were having a business dinner party at our house, and my business partner said, "Let's do a murder mystery or something like that, make it a little bit fun and a little bit different. So we're not just talking about business and computers and what have you. Make it pleasant for the wives that were coming in." So I said, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "I don't know about hosting a murder mystery." I said, "You do it if you want." And he said, "You're the writer, you write it." So I wrote this little story about this couple celebrating their silver wedding anniversary, and they were from Beverly Hills in California. It was a simple little murder mystery. And then when I decided to take a change from writing about the wedding chapels, I thought, let me take that story and extrapolate on it. But I really didn't know anything about the Beverly Hills lifestyle. Lifestyles of the rich and famous isn't on the same parallel as my life. But I had been on the Queen Elizabeth II, so I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to take that storyline and move it onto the Queen Elizabeth II. That's where they'll have their silver wedding anniversary celebration. And I was in much more of a familiar environment there. But even then, the characters there are 100% imagination. And I couldn't say any of the characters were based on somebody I knew. They're just all imaginary characters. The only thing that was realistic was obviously some of the places in London that I knew and I'd been to, and obviously the experience on the Queen Elizabeth II. So that's how that book came about.
Very good one. So everybody talks to you, you write a book, right?
There you go.
Okay. So I have another question, which it's more personal. Now, how did writing books affected your life? What was the difference that you saw in your life? Let's say in a few, let's say in your emotional whatever that you in certain levels that in our lives. So, what did you have something changing or something? I don't know.
Probably the most thing was I found it very rewarding, not necessarily financially.
Hmm.
Books are hard to sell unless
Right. Yeah.
certainly if you don't have a publisher behind you. If you're
Hmm.
self-publishing, you've got to do all the marketing. Um, so it was rewarding, I think, when the book started to sell and when I went to book signings or went speaking engagements,
Hmm.
people that came up afterwards and wanted to buy the books said how much they enjoyed the talk. Um, the emails I've got subsequent to the books and all the reviews, when people post reviews on your website, um, it's just nice. And when somebody says, your book made a difference in my life, I can't tell you how, but it did. I don't know how it made a difference, but if it did make a difference and it's been a positive difference, that has made me very, very happy. And another aspect, I think, was the marketing. Um, when the book first came out, it's like, well, now I've published this book, and uh, now what do I do? How do I let people know that it's out there? And it's all very well people saying, well, you've got to get it on Amazon. People still have to know that it's on Amazon. How do they
Correct.
know that it even exists?
Mm.
So I then set about marketing and going on radio programs and going to various venues here in Las Vegas and bookstores and other venues and doing book signings. I found that very rewarding. It changed my life, the amount of time that I spent on marketing the books.
Mm.
But it's all fun and enjoyable. And as I said, it's something that you don't necessarily, well, I certainly haven't made a lot of money on it,
Mm.
but I'm enjoying it. It's given me a great enjoyment and it's a relaxing hobby. It's a fun hobby. I don't have to do it. So what I'm doing just because of the sheer enjoyment of it. And as soon as I stop enjoying the marketing, then I'll stop selling the books. But right now, I enjoy the thrill of being on a show like this with you, talking with you. I enjoy the thrill of going and speaking at places. And it was something I never thought I could do, is go and speak in front of a large group of people or a small group.
Mm.
The first time I had to do it, it was kind of nerve-wracking. But you get into a groove after a period of time, and it's fun. I enjoy it. I've met lots of wonderful people, made lots of wonderful friends, and it's broadened my outlook on life too. There's no question it's broadened my outlook on life hugely.
Mm.
So there's been a lot of things that have really changed and shaped my life, certainly as I go to my retirement years.
So, if I ask you, when was the first book published? Let's say.
The first book came out at the beginning of 2014. At the end of 2013, it was written and it was edited, but I actually got the first print in the early part of 2014, and then the second book came out in 2015, and then the third one 2017, and the fourth one in 2019. So I'm hoping to get my fifth one finished in 2021
So,
to keep the 2-year record going.
so you had a lot of material to share. So, and I wanted to ask. I made this question because I wanted to ask you if, let's say, we break back the hands of time. So, will you think that it will be good for you to start writing earlier? What do you think?
Um, I don't know. I don't think so. And I'll
Hmm.
tell you why. Because I thoroughly enjoyed my career in the computer industry. There's no question about it. And I've had lots of other interests. Obviously, I spend a lot of time traveling as well, going to places and different things. And I was doing other things as well. I was involved in a lot of other organizations, and I did a fair amount of political stuff earlier on. Um, so I don't know, because if I'd have chopped away to the writing earlier in life, I would have missed out on the other paths that I took, and some of the people that I've met on the other paths that I And ultimately, it's the people that make your life, isn't it? It's
Right.
the people that you have around you in your life that make your life the joy that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've certainly found that to be the case. It's the people in my life that have made it such a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
And it has been wonderful.
Probably it is, especially when you said that you get like a reward when people talk to you and they say it helped your book in my life, or that is, I think it's there is nothing that can give you that pleasure in one sense, that joy when somebody comes to you and say thank you very much for writing that book, or because it helped me in a to change my life and to have a better life. Or you never know, maybe somebody wanted to give end to his life, and and they read something and say no, we have to keep on, because you're right about that, how life is not like that. Yeah. And yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that is really a pleasure to have, I think. Yeah.
That's not to say that everybody likes what I've written. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
there are lots of people that aren't turned on by it at all, but that's why we have menus in restaurants. Everybody likes different things, and the fact that some people like my writing or style of writing is very, very rewarding. It's very, very.
I agree with that. Okay, so because we're coming near to the end, so can you please tell us something that you want to share more what we said and what I asked you about? Maybe you want to share something more with our audience.
Well, I think just as a general thing, I think if people are thinking of writing or anything they're toying with the idea of doing, go out and do it. Just take a chance, make it happen. And if you've got good people behind you supporting you, things will work out fine. I think too many of us, I know certainly in my youth, I was very nervous about taking any chances or challenges or risks. I was just comfortable in a secure environment and I didn't want to venture out or change anything. And I found as life has gone by, it's better to just take those chances, just go out and do it. And be positive. We unfortunately, I think there's so much negativity in our lives, and I think just go out and try and be positive, take a can-do attitude, and we all have love in our hearts, and it's there for a reason, and share it. And it'll come back to you multiple times. Not saying that's why you should do it. You should do it just because you want to, but um, I've certainly found that when you give, there's a real joy in giving, and giving of oneself, and then people will come back and give of themselves too, and that's what will make the world go round.
Correct.
I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does. Okay, if you can, make a, I'll say it, to make a sentence for your books, what will you write? A sentence to contemplate, to make a, just to to say something for all those books. What will you say?
Um, Fun,
Mhm.
easy, pure reads, and that's what they are. They're fun, they're easy reads. It's
Mhm.
not heavy.
Mhm.
It's not like reading Shakespeare or Homer's The Odyssey from your neck of the world, um, which we read at school. So it's a hard read. It's a good book, of course, but it's a hard read. These are fun, easy reads. I'm hoping that someday they will be turned into movies or TV miniseries or things like that. That's my hope, my dream. But if it doesn't happen, hey, it's not the end of the world. It isn't. Life will go on, and I will enjoy to make the best of what comes my way.
Right. And the last thing, uh, you said that you already have, let's say, a short-term plan that you are writing something. You are on the fifth book, right?
I'm on the fifth book.
Yes.
Yes, this is going to be another. It's something totally different. As I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
I like everything to be a challenge. And my last book was a murder book about these three escorts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my latest book is going to be a Christmas novella. It's going to be a short book, but it's going to be a book about Christmas and an assortment of people. All my books are character driven, and it's going to be about an assortment of people. And this one particular Christmas, a certain event happens and it changes their lives for the better. And again, it's just going to be a real warm, fuzzy, feel good. There's nothing, nothing drastic or terrible in it. It's just going to be a nice, feel good, warm Christmas story. And I'm hoping to get that out in the summer of this year in time for Christmas sales in 2021. See if it happens. See if I can make it happen.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stephen. It was amazing to have you to listen what you have written and to know about you more. And of course, our audience, if they want to find more or they want to get your book, so we'll make all the where they can find Amazon, wherever you have the book. And so, guys, don't miss them. I'll write them down to the video, and so you can get more information about that. And also, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, to do not miss any story like this. And also, share it with your friends. Till the next time, have a wonderful day and week.